Did last night's episode of AEW Dynamite successfully continue the build to Double or Nothing? Or was it just another filler episode? We'll be talking that and more on today's episode of Allison Analysis, where we rate wrestling shows using only emojis. Out of the gates, AEW Dynamite started with Adam Copeland backstage saying, admitting that the House of Black are in his head. And because of that, tonight he wants his match against Brody King to be a no disqualification match. And I love this. This was great. I thought a good thumbs up from me. And the reason for this, just very simply, is that you were telling the viewers at the start of the show, hey, you should stay until the end to watch this. AEW don't do this enough, but the fact they did it last night made me very happy. Up next, Trent came out for his match against Orange Cassidy, and the fact that he came out to his old face music, along with his face graphics and all of that, it's a thumbs down from me, because it's not like this guy's coming out smiling, being like, I'm the good guy, Orange Cassidy's the bad guy. He's just turned heel. Like, he should have a new theme, he should have different graphics. I mean, at the very least, different graphics. I was not a fan of that. Thumbs down. But the match itself, I'll give a thumbs up to. It was a fun way to open the show. But I would have liked it to be like a DQ. I can't believe I'm saying this. I would have liked it to be a DQ finish, or just, maybe Trent cheats to win or something, because Orange Cassidy defeating him makes him look a little bit weak. And I felt the post match beatdown you could have done, without that. I feel like maybe just do a DQ and then Trent beats up Orange Cassidy or something like that to lead to the eventual rematch. I thought that would have been a bit more effective. Up next, we had Kenny Omega doing a promo from the hospital. And he basically announced Anarchy in the arena, and I don't mind that. I'm looking forward to it. And the promo was good. Kenny delivered it well. I'll give it a thumbs up. But my kind of issue with it is it's a bit of a basic one, but I would have just said, hey, Kenny got hurt last week. Let's not hear from him for months now. He's obviously going to get that surgery. We all wish him the best. But let's just, let him do his thing, let him recover. And I mean, it would have been more impactful if we were like, we didn't see him. We might have thought he was doing worse because of the attack. I feel like Tony Khan could have done this video package because, hey, if Kenny Omega is able to send in a video package and for it to, get through the elite security or whatever it is that's stopping Tony Khan, well, surely Tony Khan could send in a video package. That's what I don't get here. But it was fine. Well delivered promo from Kenny. And, as a fan of Kenny Omega, I'm always glad to see him. But I feel like it might have been a bit more effective for just, someone else to do this. But hey, it was decent. It was fine. The interview segment with Serena Dee was then, it kind of got off to a rough start, didn't it? I mean, when she came out, she was being interviewed. I was kind of thinking the same thing as I said about the Becky Lynch interview the other day. Why didn't they just do this backstage? The crowd gave just zero cares. They did not care about this one bit. But as it went on, Serena Deeb successfully got the crowd interested. She did her job, and she did her job well. And then Tony Storm came out, and the segment just went up to a whole other level. I mean, these two built to their match well, and I'm excited to see it at Double or Nothing. I'll give the segment a thumbs up. It kind of just feels like I'm either giving things a thumbs up, a decent, or a thumbs down on this episode so far. And I'm beginning to worry this is a bit of a theme with this episode. But hey, let's carry on. And we will carry on by giving another thumbs up again. Again, there just doesn't seem to be anything great or anything bad. It's just good, like decent or good or slightly underdelivered, whatever. But I'm going to be honest, I thought Mariah May versus Harley Cameron was going to get that bad rating. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Mariah May fan. I mean, she's an Arsenal fan after all. She's from London. I mean, of course, I'm going to be a fan of her, aren't I? And Harley Cameron as well, I think, is hugely underrated. But the reason why I was just not excited going in was that this match had no build on Dynamite. Why, as a viewer, should I care if I put my bias aside? Why should I care? And the answer is I probably shouldn't. But these two women, well, they just over-delivered, didn't they? Like, it wasn't an extraordinary match. It wasn't something you go out your way to see, but it was just a very, very, very solid match. In fact, I'd go as far as saying it's a good match. Thumbs up from me. But yeah, I mean, it over-delivered, and I'm glad to see it. Mariah May, by the way, it's kind of a theme with her. Everything she's in, she over-delivers. And again, I'm being biased again. She's an Arsenal fan. I know. Up next, we had a pre-recorded promo from Malakai Black, and surprise, surprise, it was amazing. Every time this guy gets a pre-recorded promo or anything like that, he makes it outstanding, and this was no different. I mean, he is literally proving the point, which I said all of last summer. And well, I say that, this past summer, I said it every week. I said that Christian Cage is the lovable baby face, and you are all being, manipulated by Adam Copeland, that sociopath. And guess what? Malakai Black is proving my point. He said it best. Adam Copeland has a dark side, and he is just pretending to be this lovable face. And guess what? Malakai Black is going to bring it out of him and prove me right. That is right. But, I mean, in all seriousness, this was just a great promo by Malakai Black. My only complaint is, coming out of this promo segment, they should have just gone to the commentary team and just gave it a minute to breathe. And they should have just talked about the promo package, saying, oh, how great was that? Malakai Black's, he's bringing out this dark side of Adam Copeland. Just let things breathe a bit, AEW. You don't need to rush through everything. Because when you give time things, you do so many promo packages, but if you just give them a little bit more time to breathe, then hey, they'll be more meaningful. And something as good as this, it just deserves that time to breathe and just to sink in for the viewer. But hey, it was still great segment and a subtle round of applause from me. We then had a video package from the New Elite saying they're going to change the world, and this was good. It successfully built to what was going to happen later on in the night. And yeah, everything this New Elite are doing is quite entertaining. We then had Swerve Strickland come out and invite out Christian Cage, and Christian Cage blessed the nation of Canada with his homecoming, and they disrespected him. They all need a father in their life like Christian Cage. That one is for sure. But Swerve did cook Christian Cage on the mic. He truly, truly did. But that's what made this segment so good. Because while Swerve thought, hey, I'm cooking this guy on the mic right now, I'm one step ahead of him. Oh, no, you weren't, Swervy boy, because Christian Cage is always one step ahead, and the Mogul Embassy turned on Swerve Strickland, and this I was a fan of. I really, really was. And the reason for that is the Mogul Embassy are a blatantly heel faction, and Swerve Strickland is now a babyface. So this made a lot of sense, and Christian Cage said, hey, I'm going to take things from you one by one, and he took yet another thing from him on the road to Double or Nothing. We're only a couple of weeks away from this Double or Nothing event, and this feud really needs some more work. But these guys did a fantastic job of building it to it. Sure, I mean, take my money, Tony Khan, because you guys did a great job with this segment. It is very rare for somebody to be a champion and for them to be still underrated. But Willow is one of those people, and her backstage promo gets a subtle round of applause from me last night. I mean, honestly, she just cuts great promo after great promo, great match after great match, and her backstage promo was great last night. I am pumped for Monet versus Willow at Double or Nothing. And I'm going to be honest, both women have been given very little to work with at times during this feud, but every chance Willow has got to advance the feud, she's done it. And again, it's proving why she's underrated. Up next, we had Jay White taking on Rocky Romero. And I mean, I just didn't care about this. Like, if you guys want me to be completely honest, I don't really care about this Jay White Gun Club faction. I feel like they've just been booked as mid-carders, like a comedy act for the most part. And Jay White versus Rocky Romero, I just didn't care for. But the two did put on a good match. So overall, I will say it was decent. No interest going in, but coming out of it, I thought, I was entertained during that. Maybe I'm being too harsh, and maybe I am. But I was a big Jay White guy in New Japan, and I mean, the fall of him in AEW, I think, needs to be studied. Because, yes, he's a trio champion, he's a unified trio champion, but he doesn't feel like a big deal. And he's one of those guys when he went to AEW, I said he would be better off in WWE. And that's not a knock on AEW, don't get me wrong, it's really, really not. But he's just somebody who's more fitted to the slower style that WWE often does. He's more of a sports entertainer to me. And he really has just gotten lost in the shuffle in AEW. And it's just disappointing to see. It really, really is. But talking about things that I don't really care for, I really did not care for Chris Jericho and Big Bale squashing. Well, no, it was actually a prolonged squash against two jobbers. I don't care for it at all. Chris Jericho then cut a promo, which was decent. The gimmick's growing on me. But, it's not some of his best work, and it just kind of feels a bit forced. But after a couple of mediocre segments, AEW bounced back with Adam Copeland versus Brody King in a no disqualification match, and I'm applauding them again. This was really, really fun. I mean, these two are two great storytellers in the ring. The violence was justified. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And once again, all this is doing is proving my point from last summer, saying that Adam Copeland is a sociopath, Christian Cage is the salt of the earth, everyone's favorite father figure. And yeah, Adam Copeland is clearly the heel here, and the House of Black are proving it. They're bringing it out of him and proving me right. So why wouldn't I love this? But yeah, a great match for sure. Then we had a great backstage promo package. Well, promo package, just a backstage interview, whatever you want to call it, from Mercedes Moné. Maybe actually one of her best AEWs, maybe even her best AEW promo Dynamite. What? AEW promo Dynamite? AEW Dynamite promo to date. You guys can tell it's quite warm in the UK today, and I'm not used to this heat. I'm all a bit flustered. But that is not just because Mercedes Moné was on screen. But yeah, honestly, this segment was enjoyable. Mercedes Moné is great on the mic, especially when it feels less scripted. And this did feel less scripted. And like I said earlier, Willow versus Moné, AEW Double or Nothing. I'm excited for it. I really, really am. I'll give her a round of applause for this. But she did steal Jade Cargill's catchphrase at the end, and I don't know how I feel about that, Monet. I hope this isn't a permanent thing now, because there is only one that word I cannot say. But yeah, this was a fun segment. Then finally, the EVPs, the Elite, came out and said that, hey, Kenny Omega, I don't know how you have the authority to make that match, but okay, we'll face 4 people of your choosing in Anarchy in the Arena. First people to come out was FTR, who Kenny Omega announced earlier in the night. This makes a lot of sense. FTR don't like the Young Bucks. There's a history between them. It's sensible. It's logical and all of that. The next person to come out, Eddie Kingston. I mean, this guy is Team AW through and through. Makes a lot of sense. He's had a lot of issues with the Young Bucks over the years. Makes sense. I liked it. But then the one which was a little bit confusing for me was Bryan Danielson coming out to join Team AEW. Firstly, him and Eddie Kingston are meant to hate each other. They are meant to despise each other. Why are they now on the same team and all good again? Also, why isn't Danielson with the Blackpool Combat Club? I mean, you could have just done the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite or something like that. I don't know how to feel about that. Or even Hangman Page. Why not Hangman Page, Eddie Kingston, and FTR? And yes, I know Hangman and Eddie have had their issues, but even those issues didn't even seem as big as Eddie Kingston's issues with the Blackpool Combat Club. I wasn't sure how I felt about this, but hey, it broke out in a brawl, and it made me think, I'm looking forward to see where this goes next. And that ultimately is what you're meant to do at the end of a weekly show. So I will give it a thumbs up. I'm excited to see what comes next. But overall, this Dynamite, I don't want to call it filler, because it had a couple of big moments in it, such as obviously the 4v4 being confirmed and the Mogul Embassy heel turn. But a lot of it, throughout was kind of filler. So hey, I'll say I'll give it a thumbs up overall, because I've given more thumbs up than thumbs down or in the middle or whatever. So I'll give it a thumbs up, but it really did just about avoid being a filler episode, but it did build to the pay-per-view. But I feel like this this analysis has kind of just summed up the issue of AEW right now, where there's not much which you're like, oh, this is brilliant, and there's not much where you're like, oh, this is bad. It's just like, yeah, that's all right. They need to be coming out of the fences and even taking more risks. Even if you have a few misses, get a few more hits, because you don't want your episodes to be feeling filler. And I'm worried that's the direction they're heading in. You're the competitor brand. You're the alternative product. Take more risks. You're in a position where you can, so take more risks. But thank you guys so much for watching the second ever edition of Allison Analysis. I'll be back on Saturday to talk Friday Night SmackDown, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys on Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your week.